What's going on with you? Just an overlay, that's it?
All right, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks. What's your name, please?
It's Christopher Bass.
All right, Mr. Bass, we're joined here by your attorney, Ms. McPhail Stockton. We're going to go ahead and call your case. This is case number 2006-109-401, People of the State of Michigan versus Christopher. I have Idel Powell Bass. Counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Christina McPhail, P70739, appearing on behalf of Mr. Bass, Your Honor, for arraignment.
Thank you, counsel. Do you wish to waive formal reading and stand your client mute at this time?
That is correct, Your Honor. I've had an opportunity to talk with my client with the charges and gave formal reading, and he stands mute.
Okay, thank you. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. Do you have an argument as to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. The nature of the case is highly disputed at this point. It involves a one-count embezzlement charge, Your Honor, involving at some point in time with his employer. He has no prior history, Your Honor. He's not likely a flight. In fact, he just learned of the outstanding warrant and had turned himself in voluntarily and retained my office right away. Mr. Bass is actually a productive citizen of the community. He operates a girls' basketball camp and as well as works with women's sports, and is in the process actually of working a wonderful property deal in obtaining a gymnasium to encourage women's sports. He's along with that. He's a graduate of the University of Michigan, or studied at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. He's pretty much an upstanding citizen, Your Honor. I would ask that the court consider a personal bond. He will appear at all dates, of course, and we look to try to hopefully resolve this case sooner as opposed to later. I've already had an opportunity to speak to the prosecutor that might likely be handling this matter. So we are looking at various routes of potential resolution or to get it moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Given the significant community ties, community ties and the fact that he's turned himself in, I don't see any flight risk here in terms of danger to the community. This is a completely non-assaultive allegation. I'm also noting that it dates back to April, so there's some age to it. For those reasons, I'm going to give a $1,500 personal bond, $1,500 personal bond. Next court date will be January the 26th. January the 26th at 8:30 a.m. That's going to be in front of Judge King, and it will be a virtual hearing, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a blessed holiday and New Year's. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Same to you. You do the same. Good luck getting it all resolved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Are we ready to put Ms. Pruitt in with counsel?
Yes.
Thank you.
Paul Green. Paul Green.
This way, we got next up, Craig.
They're doing somebody else. Are they sticking with us, PD?
Okay, Ms. Pruitt, I'm going to put you in to speak with an attorney. Give me just a second.
Take a seat over there. Pastor, I don't know what to do. Larry Williams, no, he's counting, or the hospital. The Tondras.
Ad rooms. Ms. Pruitt goes there. I need this one to close up.
Why y'all do that?
What?
Here we go. All right, they should be in. You guys should be in now. Ms. Pruitt, if you get an invitation to join the breakout room, please accept that invitation, okay? All right, DDC, who do I have in front of me?
Justin Latondras.
Okay, thank you. Stand by just one moment, Mr. Latondras. Ms. Stevenson, are you ready to go on Freeman? Or do you? That's who you guys just interviewed. He's here by Zoom. You ready? Okay. All right, we're going to do Mr. Freeman first, and then we'll move to Mr. Latondras. On Mr. Freeman, this is case number 1904513-301, People of the State of Michigan versus Otis Charlie Freeman. Counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. For the record, Janice Stevens, P57708, appearing on behalf of Otis Freeman, who appears via Zoom, waives the reading of the information, Your Honor. Janice Stevens answered the plea of not guilty on trial behalf.
Okay, thank you. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. Give an argument as to bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Freeman will be 26 years old on New Year's Eve. He's a lifelong resident of the city of Detroit. Your Honor, he's on probation right now for attempted CCW by the Third Circuit Court with Judge Edwards, scheduled to be discharged from probation in January 2021 for an incident that stems from June 18, 2018. This matter is alleged is from May 16th of 2019. Mr. Freeman, I wish that this case had come along right along the same time we could have both taken care of. But Mr. Freeman is absolutely on the road to rehabilitation under the supervision of Judge Edwards of Circuit Court. I believe he could lose absolutely no business like having been given an administrative release by the jail and having zoomed in as he was directed to do so. Mr. Freeman could himself via Zoom in a very professional manner. Young man really wanted to take care of his business. We're asking for personal bond, Your Honor. Does this court have the authority to remove a tether that was placed by the jail?
What I can do is I will set the bond and I will note on the bond order that a tether is not required.
Okay.
If I look through the file here and determine that to be the case, give me just a second.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, whether or not they have to follow that, I can't tell you. But I will certainly make a note of it in my bond order. I assume that was just to assure his presence here with us by Zoom today, which, you know, I will note for the record, Mr. Freeman has presented himself very well here by Zoom today. I appreciate that. He's been very polite and very cooperative. So there's nothing in this file to indicate to me that he would be a flight risk. In terms of danger to the community, I don't see any assaultive offenses in his past. You've noted that he's on probation for attempted CCW, which would just have to do with the mere carrying or possession of a weapon, not the alleged use of that weapon in an assaultive capacity. So I don't think that he is a danger to the community. All right. For all of those reasons, I am ordering a personal bond in the amount of $500, $500 personal bond. I'm noting here, tether not required. Is he working?
He's an independent caterer, Your Honor.
Okay.
Hasn't been able to get a job, so he's selling dinners, but he makes himself.
Okay, very good. So I'll note that the tether is not required, and hopefully that will take care of that so that he's able to move around freely to do his work. Okay, $500 personal bond. Next court date is going to be on January the 13th. January 13th, that's going to be in front of Judge Bryant. January 13th, Judge Bryant, and that'll be by Zoom, okay? Good luck to you, Mr. Freeman, getting it resolved.
Thank you, Judge. I apologize for having you here. Merry Christmas.
No problem. Keep doing well, sir. Keep doing what you're supposed to do. Same to you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel.
All right.
You're welcome, Mr. Freeman.
Okay, let's go to Mr. Latondra. Let me just find his file here. All right, Mr. Latondra, thanks for waiting. This is case number 200-5562501, People of the State of Michigan versus Justin Latondra. Counsel.
Janice Stevens, P57708, appearing on behalf of Justin Latondra, waives the reading of the information, stands mute after the plea of not guilty, enter on his behalf.
Thank you, counsel. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. I do note that this is a completely non-assaultive offense, and I have no conviction history in front of me, assaultive or otherwise. Do you have any other arguments as to bond?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Latondra is 24 years old. He's lived in the state of Michigan his entire life. He's been working the last 2 years, Your Honor, with Supreme Services Plumbing Company. Mr. Latondra has been advised that his next appearance in court will probably be via Zoom, and he does have the technology to be able to be present via Zoom requesting personal bond.
All right, thank you, counsel. As I said, this is a non-assaultive offense. Given the significant community ties you've told me about, counsel, I don't see any danger of the risk of flight here. For those reasons, I'm going to set personal bond in the amount of $1,000, $1,000 personal bond, and the next court date will be January the 26th. January the 26th in front of Judge Archer. That will be by a virtual hearing, as far as I can see here. All right, January 26th, 8:30 a.m. Judge Archer, $1,000 personal. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then I'm still waiting on my final list. We still don't know who that is. We got 3 different people waiting for 3 different people, trying to see if it's their person. Okay, sir, over at Division 3, I still don't know if I'm going to get your file yet this morning. Thank you for waiting patiently. That file has not come to me yet.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, sir, at the DDC, what's your name, please?
Michael Terry.
Okay. One moment, please. Okay, Mr. Terry, this is case number 2006-160-501, People of the State of Michigan versus Michael Terry, counsel.
Janice Stevens, son of 2577, always appearing on behalf of Michael Terry, waives the reading of the information and stands mute after the plea of not guilty enter on Mr. Terry's behalf. Mr. Terry has been advised of his rights, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, counsel. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. Counsel, I know you're aware of the charges here, but I'm happy to have you make your record as to bond.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. Mr. Terry has advised us that he lives with his mom. He's in the city of Pontiac. He's 31 years old, Your Honor. Has lived in the state of Michigan his entire life. He has been diagnosed with asthma and diabetes, which we believe to be significant during this time of pandemic. In addition, Mr. Terry has advised us that he is blind in one eye and he has limited sight and is losing his sight in the other eye. Do understand the very, very, very serious nature of these charges. And I'd ask the court to consider some type of cash bond.
Okay, thank you. One moment, please.
Oh, they're gonna have more. They probably got stacked piles right there with all the equities here.
Call that Zoom will slow it down.
Yeah.
She wants
Well,
straight.
she doesn't feel it. She's sitting there.
We can find.
All right, counsel, thank you for waiting. In terms of danger to the community, I'm looking at a prior conviction for armed robbery in 2010, which is quite concerning. That is a conviction. In addition, with respect to these charges, this is a charge of first-degree premeditated homicide or murder, with the defendant being identified by a person known to him who claims to have witnessed the events. In addition, it looks like in terms of flight risk, there was some effort that had to be made by law enforcement to track him down by cell phone and trace that phone in order to find him. So I don't think that I can reasonably assure his reappearance for court in this very serious matter if I do anything besides remand in this case, and that's what I'm going to do. He is remanded at this time. Thank you. All right, thank you. Sir, you are remanded.
We get a court date so I can put it on the paper, Your Honor.
Yes, sorry. Next court date is going to be, one moment, please. Next court date is January the 5th. January the 5th, that is the probable cause conference on January 5th. Then the preliminary examination is scheduled for January 11th. January 5th at 8:30 a.m. with Judge Archer by Zoom. January 5th, 8:30 a.m. with Judge Archer. That'll be a virtual hearing. And then the preliminary examination is set for January 11th at 1:30 p.m. in front of Judge Archer, same way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Green. Go for it. 7. Come on. Man in the chair.
All right, I have Ms. Pruitt back with us.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Pruitt. We ready on Ms. Pruitt? Okay, Ms. Pruitt, I'm calling your case now. This is case number 200-443-0201. People of the State of Michigan versus Lisa Marie Pruitt, counsel.
Janice Stevens here on behalf of Lisa Pruitt, who raised the information and neither of us have pleaded not guilty.
All right, thank you. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. You have an argument as to bond.
Yes, Your Honor. I have actually personally been working with Ms. Pruitt, Your Honor, and I'm happy that she's made her way back to court, even though she did have to spend some time over at the Wayne County Jail before she was able to get in front of the judge. She does have 5 children, Your Honor, that are in foster care. She's trying to get those children back. I think coming into compliance with this case, and any other court orders is the first step to that happening, and I believe that's sufficient incentive for her to do so. Ms. Pruitt started working, I think, about 5 months ago at Country House and River Rouge. I have personally spoken to her mother, Your Honor, who she's still involved with her mom and has those kids. So I think that she does have significant ties to the community. I know that there's a $500 10% bond that was placed by Judge Bryant after Ms. Pruitt missed that August 19th court date of this year. But I think sitting over at the jail has taught her that she needs to be in court when she's supposed to be. We do have contact information from Ms. Pruitt, and we are requesting that the court exercise the authority given by Judge Bryant for these bond personal.
Okay, one moment, please.
Your Honor, at this time, Ms. Pruitt is expecting them. She's pregnant.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking because they have this case scheduled to go in front of Judge King.
It's a misdemeanor. I think he was previously the judge.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right, thank you. Because you are correct, this is a misdemeanor. You are correct that the judge who signed the capias does appear to be Judge Bryant. So I do believe I have the authority to change the bond to a personal bond. I'm going to go ahead and do that today. She's out now. She's joined us for the Zoom call. That tells me she's not a flight risk, that she wants to get this addressed and dealt with. Sounds like she wants to get her kids back, and this is part of that. And so she's certainly got some motivation to get it done. In terms of danger to the community, there's nothing in front of me, no prior convictions, assaultive or otherwise, that would tell me she's a danger to the community. So for those reasons, I'm going to give a personal bond in this case in the amount of $500. The next court date is going to be January the 13th. So we've got a $500 personal bond. Sorry, we're doing someone else, DDC. I'll get right back with you guys. 1 second. This is a $500 personal bond. Her next court date is going to be January the 13th. She's going to be in front of Judge, I don't know, this still says Judge King. Counsel, you want to double check that for me? Okay. All right. So January the 13th in front of Judge Bryant. That's going to be a virtual hearing. So $500 personal. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Okay, DDC, who do I have there with you guys?
Warren Jefferson.
All right, Mr. Jefferson. Ms. Pruitt, good luck to you. Thank you for joining us. All right. Mr. Jefferson. Okay, Mr. Jefferson, you've got, before I do your felony arraignment, you have a traffic misdemeanor case where you miscourt the judge who issued that ticket, set a bond, issued a warrant. We're going to set the warrant aside. You'll get a personal bond, so you won't have to pay to get out of jail today on this ticket, but I need to tell you when your next court date is and advise you of what that ticket is. So the ticket is ticket number 204815341. And there the government alleges that on May the 21st of 2020 in the area of Van Dyke and Outer Drive that you did not have an operator's license on your person. As I said, you're getting a personal bond on this particular ticket. You're going to have a court date in front of Judge Judge Sabri. That's going to be on January the 19th of 2021. January 19th, 2021. In front of Judge Sabri at 8:30 a.m. and that will be by Zoom. I do need to advise you that this is a misdemeanor for which you can face a penalty of up to 93 days in jail and or a $500 fine. You also have the right to remain silent. Anything you say could be used against you in the future, and you have the right to the assistance of an attorney on all future proceedings on this ticket, and if you can't afford one, one will be provided for you on or before that next court date. All right. Let's move on to your next case, which is case number 2006227-501. People of the State of Michigan versus Lamar Jefferson Jr. Counsel.
For the record, Your Honor, Janice Stevenson, P577708, appearing on behalf of Mr. Lamar Jefferson. Your Honor, may I take a look at the
Sure, I'm going to do the same. Come on up. Sure. Okay, Mr. Jefferson, stand by, please.
I can't really stand. I was shot.
No, just be patient with me. I'm sorry. I'm just letting you know we're just taking a moment to review some paperwork. Okay, so I just need you to sit there for just a moment and we'll get right back with you. First.
Come on, say your first and last name, brother.
I don't want to read it.
I got 2 more guys to get kicked.
Okay, thank you. Counsel, in case we hadn't already, do you waive formal reading and stand your client mute?
Please, Your Honor, ask the plea of not guilty be entered on Mr. Jefferson's behalf. He has been advised of his rights, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. I'll hear your arguments as to bond, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. It is our understanding that Mr. Jefferson's family does intend to retain counsel going forward after today's arraignment. Mr. Jefferson would have no contact with the complaining witness, Kenya Ford. Thank you for the opportunity to review the investigator's report. We were trying to find out if there was some underlying action that would have caused the eventual charge to be home invasion in the first degree. We believe it's going to be argued at trial that Mr. Jefferson actually had the permission of the young lady mentioned in the investigator's report to be in that location. Mr. Jefferson is 19 years old, Your Honor, has been in the state of Michigan his entire life. He's a 2020 graduate of ACE Academy. As the court is able to observe, Mr. Jefferson is in a wheelchair at this time. He's, that's due to the fact that he did suffer a gunshot wound during this incident. Incident is alleged is from December 1st of this year. Warrant didn't issue until December 7th. Mr. Jefferson has been over at the Wayne, at the Detroit Detention Center since yesterday, has not had any medical treatment relative to that gunshot wound. In that, we believe Mr. Jefferson's mother, with whom he lives, in addition to two younger sisters, is able to ensure that Mr. Jefferson stay away from Kenyatta Ford's home during the tendency of these proceedings. And because he does need to get some more medical treatment for that gunshot wound, which interesting to us, Your Honor, according to the write-up, it looks like the person who shot him suspected that he was actually in the attic. And so it's pretty interesting that he's the only one that got charged. We're going to ask the court to consider personal bond. We have no objection to GPS tether to make sure that Mr. Jefferson stays away from Kenyatta Ford's home and away from her. Yeah, that's a further at this time.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking at the write-up in terms of the underlying basis for the home invasion first. I mean, they note that he was seen on camera removing items from the living room and putting them in his pocket, and then he remained in the home once someone else was there. And I have to tell you that that's the part that really concerns me, that given the opportunity to leave, he didn't do that. He instead went up to the attic, and I don't know why. Now, part of it may be that he's 19 years old and he just doesn't make good decisions about what to do next. But, you know, the way that the write-up reads is that there was an opportunity to have left the home, and he didn't do that. And then hid inside the home. Sir, don't say anything right now. I'm working my way through this. If you have a question when I'm done, then we'll talk about that and whether that's, you know, good or not to do. But let me get through this because you could say something that could harm you in future proceedings. Okay. I'm listening to your counsel who's telling me, as always, there are two sides to every story, that there may be more here than what I'm seeing in terms of permission to be there. But, you know, what really does concern me is the hiding out aspect of this, not leaving and then kind of hiding out while other people were in the home, such that the person who was supposed to be there in the home, her home, was calling pest control and other things, trying to figure out what was going on in her house and where these noises were coming from. So I'm not going to be inclined to give a personal bond in this case. I've got some concerns. I will give what I think is a fair bond in this case.
Your Honor, I'm here for it, and I thank the court. I know this court is very, very, very careful in these matters. Just want to point out that if Mr. Jefferson in fact had permission from a lawful resident of that home to be in the home, I believe, will be argued at trial that whatever items he may have been seen taking into his possession may very well have been his own items if he had permission to be there. So I think that that's going to be crucial.
Understood. And might also explain why he didn't leave when given the opportunity, why he was a teenager kind of hiding out, waiting for someone else to get home. Might also go to that. And so that point is taken, counsel. I thank you. I appreciate that. I'm setting bond with all of that in mind, okay? In terms of possible risk to the community and possible risk of flight, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $35,000, 10%, okay? $35,000, 10%, so that we can try to get to the bottom of this. I think that's fair, given what I've got in front of me. You are correct. There's nothing in the report that indicates to me that Mr. Jefferson was armed inside the home. And so that is one thing that is also saving him in my eyes in terms of a very, very high cash bond, that when he was found, he was not found to be armed. Instead, he himself got shot for being there, and is still going to have medical treatment, and apparently still is not able to really stand or walk due to the gunshot wound.
$20,000, 10%, which is still a significant amount of money, but it'll definitely put some skin in the game to make sure that he is very close to me in terms of his court appearances. I don't, given his age, I know he doesn't have $3,500, and I don't know that his family has that either. They might be able to come up with $2,000, or after $20,000, 10%.
Counsel, I'm not inclined to do that in this case. You know, this is still a concerning case. I mean, there's someone on the other side of this case, and just as it is possible that he was sitting and waiting for that person to get home and have a friendly exchange, it is just as possible in my eyes that he was lying in wait for something that was not going to be friendly. And so for those reasons, I'm going to leave my bond as it is at $35,000, 10%. Next court date is going to be January the 5th, and that's the probable cause conference in front of Judge Jones, 8:30 a.m. by Zoom. And then the preliminary examination is set for January the 12th in front of Judge Jones. In addition, I am going to require a GPS tether here because I am concerned about the no contact order. So I am going to require a GPS tether, and he is going to have to stay away from Joanna Temple during the course of this bond, okay? And that means no contact with her, no verbal contact, no written contact, no contact through third parties or social media. He is not to have any contact with her whatsoever. He is not to go near that house. Obviously, they've got some kind of Ring doorbell or surveillance system, and they're going to know if he gets back to that address, and we're going to know because he'll be on a GPS tether. $35,000, 10% GPS tether required. Next court date, January 5th, then January 12th, both at 8:30 a.m. in front of Judge Jones by Zoom. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I'm done. Yep. All right, brother, best you can. Turn yourself.
I still don't have that last file.
This way. Okay, you go
I
ahead.
know who it is.
You got 35,000.
And I've got a prosecutor sitting on the line. Oh, here it comes. Okay.
Come on, brother Fawaz. Bring the coat, Fawaz. Bring the coat, brother. Bring the stuff this way, brother. Put it right there in the crates, brother. You gonna step on that white line, Fawaz, see your first and last name?
Good morning. What's your name, please?
Michael Fawaz.
Okay, Mr. Fawaz. Good morning. This is case number 200-441-9901, People of the State of Michigan versus Michael Fawaz. Counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the record, Janice Stevens, P57708, appearing on behalf of Michael Fawaz, who waives the reading of the information, stands to after the plea of not guilty, enter on his behalf. If Fawaz has been advised of his rights, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. I do note that this is a non-assaultive offense and there is no conviction history in front of me, assaultive or otherwise, that would cause me to believe Mr. Fawaz is a danger to the community. I'm also noting that the case is over a year old, so there is some age to this. All right, do you have any other arguments as to bond?
I just want the court to know that Mr. Fawaz is 22 years old, Your Honor. He's been in this, lived in the state of Michigan his entire life. He is employed, Your Honor, with Quicken Loans, as a 2016 graduate of Fortune High School in Dearborn, I believe, Your Honor. Lives with his mother. Has been incarcerated since yesterday on this matter, believing that he was decided to keep his job, for some numbers like for that reason. We ask for personal boundaries.
Okay, thank you. As I said, I don't think there's a danger to the community here, and given the fact that he works here, has community ties here, he's obviously been here since this occurred over a year ago. I don't think he's a flight risk. Bond is set in the amount of $1,000 personal, $1,000 personal bond. Next court date, January 13th of 2021, in front of Judge Bryant here at 36th District Court, and that will be by Zoom. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This way, but you got person five, four, let's see which one was you at?
The last one, Your Honor, we have three defendants
Two.
on it.
Okay.
And when you sign this, when you get
Okay, for everyone in my Zoom room waiting to see if that last file was for you, it appears that the names that we've added are, we got 3 here. Okay. All right, this is going to be a 3-defendant case involving a Michael White, Desjuan Hardwick, and Eugene Langston. Michael White, Desjuan Hardwick, or Eugene Langston. So if that's not the person you were waiting for, you can go ahead and feel free to leave the Zoom courtroom at this time and check back with us this afternoon. Over at Division 3, sir, tell me your name again, please, over at Division 3.
What's your second?
Michael White and Langston.
They bring the interview now. That's Langston just had.
I know he told me, but she doing him now.
Okay.
I guess all 3 of them.
Division 3, who's at the, if that's not one of these defendants, he's not on my list. I'll check to see if I can get him on this afternoon. Please tell me the person's name at Division 3 one more time, please. You're muted. I don't know if that's, hold on. At Division 3, could you tell me the person's name sitting in the room, please? You are on mute. He's trying. I can see you're trying to unmute, I guess, but it's not working. Okay, there. You should be off mute now. What's that? What's the name there?
Aaron Moon, can you hear us?
Now we can hear you. Okay, Aaron Moon is the name. Okay. I do not have Mr. Moon on my list for this morning. I will get some information. We'll try to get back to you guys about whether or not he's getting onto the afternoon list, okay?
Okay, do you know how we will be informed, Judge?
I'm assuming someone can call Division 3 and tell them if Mr. Moon's on the list this afternoon, right?
Yeah.
Okay, someone will call to tell you guys whether or not he's on the afternoon list.
Okay, is it possible they can dial the 7006?
Yep, you want to give me the number now?
Yes,
Go ahead.
the 875-7006.
Okay, all right, we'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye. Okay. All right, and then I have, well, I guess they can hear me. Okay, BDC, sorry about that. I'm ready to proceed. You guys are on mute now.
Your Honor, Kim Stout here. I guess my client did not appear, so I come back at 1.
2:30. Our next docket is at 2:30.
2:30, same Zoom number?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Okay, sir, the DDC. What's your name, please? Mr. Langston. Okay, thank you. Mr. Langston, have you had the time to consult with an attorney yet? Have you talked with a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. All right, this is, I've got 3 here. One moment, please. Okay, this is case number 2006-263-103, People of the State of Michigan versus Eugene Clarence Langston. Counsel.
Janice Stevens, P5770, appearing on behalf of Eugene Langston, who waives the reading of the information and stands mute. As to the plea of not guilty entered on his behalf, Mr. Langston has been advised of his rights, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. Do you have an argument as to bond?
Yes.
Okay, we're just going to do Mr. Langston first, who was identified as, he is defendant 3.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right.
And those would be all non-assaulted charges, unless I'm missing something. Mr. Langston, excuse me, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Langston is 32 years old, Your Honor, has been in Detroit his entire life. Has advised us that his source of income is Social Security disability, and that he does not have money to post a bond. He does has been diagnosed with a liver condition, Your Honor, for which he takes daily medication, which he's not been getting since he was incarcerated at Detroit Detention Center, Your Honor. Graduated from Perkins Adult Ed, and does not have money to post a bond. Also, is advised that he has suffered a fractured spinal cord, Your Honor, and he's wearing a brace at this time. Mr. Langston, due to the fact that these are non-assaulted convictions, Your Honor, due to the fact that I don't think I have any assaulted criminal history for him, it looks like the priors are 2007 non-assaulted, 2008 non-assaulted, 2011, all non-assaulted priors, Your Honor. You understand these are his serious charges, but Mr. Langston is requesting release on personal bond. We have no objection to a GPS tether, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to say this. It's true that these are not assaultive. I think it's pretty abhorrent to allegedly be going around stealing potentially Christmas presents for kids off of people's porches. I mean, it's offensive. And moreover, while he doesn't have an assaultive history, what he has is a history of theft. He's got at least 2 priors involving theft. So he's engaging in the same kind of behavior over and over again. He's presenting himself as someone who receives Social Security disability, so he knows what it's like to need to make ends meet, and yet there's an allegation that he's out there taking from other people at this time of the year, which I just find, I don't know. So, I'm going to set what I think is a reasonable bond in this case. It's not going to be a personal bond. I will set what I think is a reasonable bond, and I will tell you in doing so, I am looking at the value of the items that were alleged to have been taken and assuming that's probably not even a full accounting of everything that was taken or attempted to be taken. And so I'm going to set the bond accordingly. One moment, please.
I never stole no one. Just
one moment, please.
Your Honor, I never stole anything.
One moment, please, sir.
No. You know where you're at.
We already had enough with on count earlier. Then they go eat.
Oh, you said count. I never even stole nothing. I was in the car, but I.
One moment, please, sir. Sir, you're going to harm yourself because you keep talking. And if you say something that's inconsistent that they can use against you later, you will hurt yourself in terms of your case, okay? I'm just telling you this for your own good. My job today is to set the bond, and my job today is to look at the allegations in terms of what's the likelihood of conviction at trial in terms of the allegations, whether you're a danger to the community, and whether there's a flight risk here. Those are the things that I'm measuring. And, the thing that one moment, please.
Everything go to her.
You just got two?
Three.
When did the female was on?
Now, I will tell you that the one thing that is going to do some saving of Mr. Langston here is that while the other two defendants were apparently caught on Ring doorbell, so far, in terms of the investigator's report in front of me, he was not. So that's going to affect the amount of the bond that I'm setting in this case for him, which I'm setting at $5,000, 10%. $5,000, 10% for him. And that's why, because he was found in a vehicle where these packages were located, but he was not seen on Ring doorbell taking those items as far as I can see from the investigator's report. However, to make sure that this doesn't happen again while the case is pending, I'm going to order a GPS tether. So $5,000, 10% GPS tether is required. It will be restrictive until a judge looks at this and says otherwise.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Next court date for Mr. Langston is going to be January the 5th. January the 5th is the probable cause conference. He then has a preliminary examination set for January the 12th. Both of those in front of Judge Giles. They will be virtual hearings, 8:30 a.m. Thank you.
That's it?
January 5th and January 12th in front of Judge Giles. Ms. Stout, were you meaning to come back in? You're muted, Ms. Stout.
Sorry, Judge. My client apparently called his mother and said they processed him, so I thought maybe they'll bring him.
Tell me the name one more time, please.
It's ROUFAIL. Rufail.
So they must have processed him for the afternoon docket at 2:30. He's not going to get on this morning.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to bother you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, back to DDC. Your name, please.
Design Hardwick.
Thank you. All right, this is case number 2006. Sorry, 2006-263-102. People of the State of Michigan versus DeJuan James Hardwick. Counsel.
Janice Stevenson, appearing on behalf of DeJuan Hardwick. Waives the reading of the information and stands made up the plea of not guilty. Enter on his behalf, Your Honor. Mr. Hardwick has been advised of his rights.
Thank you, counsel. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. Do you have an argument as to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hardwick is 30 years old. He's been in the city of Detroit his entire life. Does hold a GED, Your Honor. Recently had a gunshot injury to the back. His advisor that he does not have any income at this time. He does have 2 6-year-old children. Lives with his sister and two of his 2 children, Your Honor. And Mr. Hardwick is asking the court to consider personal loans.
All right, thank you. All right. So, we just talked about this with respect to Mr. Langston, but I'll do it again. That, I do find the charges upsetting. That, the allegation is here is that there were things being stolen from people right from their porch at Christmas time. That's the allegation. Moreover, it is alleged that Mr. Hardwick was seen on someone's Ring camera actually removing items from a porch. So, you know, that is one of the things that I do consider when setting bond. What is the likelihood of conviction at trial? And here I have information that he is on a camera taking items. I just want to double check that. I want to be sure that my information is correct. One moment, please.
East Side Street, something.
One moment, please. Yes, I have in the investigator's report a sentence that says victim provided Scout with door ring camera footage of Mr. Hardwick on her porch taking her package and then fleeing. I'm going to set bond in this case given the allegations of the items stolen and their the amounts corresponding. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $10,000, 10%. I understand you're saying that he's going to have trouble raising that, but I think that is a fair bond. Given the circumstances in this case, $10,000, 10%. I am also going to require a GPS tether until a judge reviews the case and says otherwise. There will be a GPS tether required.
Left that on.
Wow. Okay.
$10,000, 10%, GPS tether required. Next court date will be January the 5th. January the 5th. And then the preliminary examination is scheduled for January the 12th. Both of those in front of Judge Giles, 8:30 a.m. It will be virtual. Thank you.
Thank you.
This way, Brother
I'm putting these here, Madam Clerk, as I go, just because there's 3 of them, if you want them. All right, sir, what's your name, please?
Michael White.
Okay, Mr. White, this is case number 2006-263-101, People of the State of Michigan versus Michael White. Counsel.
Janice Stevenson, appearing on behalf of Michael White, P57708, waives the reading of the information as the plea is not guilty enter on Mr. White's behalf. Mr. White advised of his rights, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. Do you have an argument as to bond?
Mr. White, yes, Your Honor. Mr. White wants to portion. He's 31 years old. He's been in Detroit his entire life. He has done some landscaping, Your Honor, hopes to be able to pursue that as a career. Does have some medical conditions, Your Honor, some arthritis, as well as he was in cases he was shot in the head, Your Honor. Usually takes medication for that injury that he is not receiving at this time. Mr. White is requesting release on personal bond.
All right, thank you, counsel. For Mr. White's benefit, I've talked about how troubled I am by the allegations in this case, that they consist of an allegation that they were going around stealing basically Christmas presents off of people's porches right here before Christmas. In terms of the impact of that on the community, you know, I think that's concerning, that there's an allegation that multiple residences were hit in this way, that there is Ring video camera footage apparently of Mr. White actually removing a package from a porch, and that he was driving the vehicle that was found with multiple packages inside of it. Given the allegations here, given the evidence that purportedly exists from the Ring camera and victim statements who observed these things, I'm not going to give a personal bond in this case. You know, if these allegations were true, they were very ready to ruin someone else's holiday, and we're in the process of doing it. And I want to make sure that that doesn't happen again. I'm setting bond in this one at $15,000, 10%. $15,000, 10%. The next court date is going to be January 5th at 8:30 a.m. And that one's going to be in front of Judge Giles. And then preliminary examination is scheduled for January 12th at 8:30 a.m. in front of Judge Giles. I'm also requiring a GPS tether in this case. If he's able to make bond, he will have to be fitted with a GPS tether before leaving the jail.
Wow.
Did you call brief again? Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, this one. We'll see you on the female side, correct?
What about this?
Oh, did we do Larry Williams? I have a Larry Williams, or AKA Jeffrey Birch. I have a Timothy Satterfield, or maybe that's just Jamie Hester. Nope, I've got. Why is Jamie Hester circled? Okay. Okay, and I feel like I've got a couple more males. Give me 1 second, DDC, so we can try to coordinate our list.
Copy that, Your Honor. This way, Mike.
Thank you. There's that one. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, all right, so DDC, the files I still have in front of me is I have a Jamie Satterfield, or I'm sorry, Timothy Satterfield. I've got a Timothy Satterfield. Then I've got a Larry Williams, AKA Jeffrey Birch.
Satterfield is actually the co-defendant. Hester is a female.
Oh, Hester is a female. Okay, so we've just got the female on Hester. Okay, very good, thank you. I've still got Larry Williams or Jeffrey Birch. And then I've got a, who is this? Okay, this is a female here. Sherrod Settles. Do you have a Sherrod Settles?
I think that's a female. I'm not sure. Let me see. But Birch, AKA Williams, is outside hospital, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I'll make a note of that.
And Sherrod Settles, Your Honor, is a hospital as well.
Oh, hospital as well. Okay, thank you. Okay, so DDC, you guys don't have Settles either. That person's at the hospital. Oh, wait a minute. They're telling me Birch. They're saying they interviewed Birch, so maybe we've mixed up Settles and Sherrod. I mean, Sherrod Settles.
So Larry Williams is actually Birch?
Yes. There's an AKA. So I've got Larry Williams, AKA Jeffrey Birch. That person, they say they've interviewed this morning, so he should not be at the hospital.
Okay. Hey, Frank.
Hey, Birch. Birch is here. Birch is back. Okay. No, the list of phone numbers?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I need an update.
Gotcha.
Like that.
I can't take it to the point where
This is face right here. This is what he looked like.
Do you remember who the attorney was for Christopher Bass or Bass?
Christina McPhail. You need her P number?
Yes.
70739. I wrote it down.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. I guess DDC, they're looking for Mr. Birch or Mr. Williams.
Right, brother Larry, you're going and step on that white line, say your first and last name, brother. Yes, sir, say your first and last name.
Jeffrey Birch.
Okay, Mr. Birch. All right, I've got case number 19061063001. People of the state of Michigan, and I am noting for the record we may need a correction on this MIT. This is people of the state of Michigan versus Larry Anthony Williams, and I do have an AKA of Jeffrey Bernard Birch. Counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the record, Janice Stevenson, P5778, appearing on behalf of Jeffrey Birch, who is also known as Larry Anthony Williams. He waives the reading of the information and stands mute. The answer to plea is not guilty. Answer on Mr. Birch's behalf, Your Honor. He has been advised of his rights.
Thank you, counsel. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. You have an argument as to bond.
We do, Your Honor. Mr. Birch does have two adult sons, Your Honor, ages 33 and 31. Lives alone here in the city of Detroit. He's been in the city since the year 2000. He is 59 years old, Your Honor, has some college and under his belt. Been in jail since December 21st, Your Honor. He does some housekeeping to earn income. Mr. Birch is advised he does not have money to post a bond. During our conversation with Mr. Birch this morning, Your Honor, he advised us that he's under the impression that he's already on probation for this charge. We did some investigation. He is in fact on probation out of circuit court, Your Honor. His probation was recently reinstated and extended. I think that was by Judge Edwards on December 21st. And this case actually is contemporaneous with that case in terms of the incident date. So, not sure why both of these matters didn't resolve at the same time, Your Honor. I know this incident date is allegedly September 26, 2019, and the incident date for the case that he's under sentence now is September 3rd of 2019. So, I think that Mr. Birch is under the impression that both of these matters are in the process of being concluded. He's on probation for both. I think he knows now that that's not the case. Mr. Birch, again, having just had his probation reinstated, knows that if he doesn't appear for all future court appearances and abide by court orders, that he risks being incarcerated again. 2019 case, Your Honor, requesting personal law.
Thank you. I guess part of the concern for me is if his probation was extended, was he not reporting as he was supposed to?
So I'm not sure what the reason for the alleged violation was, Your Honor, but I know that after hearing those reasons, on December 21st, Judge Edwards went ahead and continued, his probation continued /extended.
Miss,
Okay.
Miss,
All right.
I was
So,
Mr.
No, they
Birch,
moved
can
me.
you please remain, Mr. Birch, this is counsel, would you please not talk for just a minute, okay? Let's listen to our honest.
and then if she thinks there's something else that I need to know, she'll tell me that. She doesn't want you to harm yourself by saying something that could be used against you later. All right. So I'm looking at the nature of this case, and it is a resisting and obstructing, basically consisting of pulling away from the officer when they attempted to arrest him. Now, I will tell you the thing that is helping him in this case, counsel, thanks to your arguments, is that the reason that they were arresting him is because they found that he had a warrant out of 36th district for this same thing. And so perhaps there was some confusion about whether or not Mr. Williams believed he was resisting a lawful or unlawful arrest. If he believed that he was already on probation, already dealing with the case, there aren't any real assaultive allegations here, more of a pulling away of the arm while they were attempting to arrest him for this outstanding warrant. Okay. So I'm noting that those factors in particular don't cause me an overall concern about community safety. There is, there is some history that might cause me some concern about community safety, including a conviction for a felonious assault of some sort about 6 years ago. However, what I'm weighing is the fact that a judge has recently looked at Mr. Williams and determined that that is not an indicator that he is a current danger to the community because he's been given a probationary sentence. And so I'm going to kind of trust that as well, that case is 6 years old, that probation has had a chance to be monitoring him to some extent over the last probably year or two, and they don't consider him to be a danger to the community such that he needs to be kept locked up. They've considered that probation and extending probation is an appropriate sentence for him. So for those reasons, I am going to give a personal bond. In terms of risk of flight, I have a little bit of concern, but he's been under probation. He's obviously been back to court to have that probation extended, so he has kept going to some court date. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give a personal bond in this case in the amount of $1,000 for the reasons I just stated on the record, okay? And hopefully that he can get this all worked out, what's what. Whether these should be running together or not. Okay, $1,000 personal bond. Next court date is going to be January the 26th. January 26th in front of Judge, it still says King at 8:30 a.m. Judge King, 8:30 a.m., January 26th by Zoom. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this way,
All right, thank you, DDC. I will see you guys on the female side.
All right. It's in that folder front. We're gonna bring the name one more time. You ain't got no hold, get your copy. And make no quick tonight, you might be able to do that. Who's got to do with that folder?
Okay.
So I was at Zoom. So I have to record.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name, please?
Jamie Hester.
Okay,
Jamie
Ms.
Hester.
Hester. Thank you, Ms. Hester. Okay, this is case number 2006-218-002, People of the State of Michigan versus Jamie Marie Hester, counsel.
Janice Stevenson appearing on behalf of Jamie Hester, waives the reading of the information, stands mute. We ask that a plea of not guilty enter on her behalf. Ms. Hester has been advised of her rights.
Thank you, counsel. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. Do you have an argument as to bond?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hester was not aware that this warrant from December 6th of this year was outstanding, so she got picked up at I think a local Coney Island yesterday. She is employed, Your Honor, at board staffing. She has completed some college in addition to having earned her GED. Ms. Hester wants the court to know that she does take medication for a heart condition, which she is not receiving. We are concerned about her health during this time of pandemic. She does live with the co-defendant, Your Honor, who's her husband, and their two children, ages 14 and 15 years old. But Ms. Hester, we had a good conversation this morning, understands that she should have absolutely no contact with Marisa King during the pendency of these proceedings. I think we have a PCC scheduled for co-defendant on January 19th, Your Honor. Ms. Hester, I believe, wants to bring this matter to its lawful conclusion. She's not trying to run. She wants to be able to continue to be a mother to her two children, those two teenagers. And we are asking the court to consider release on personal bond.
Okay, thank you, counsel. One moment, please. Okay. You know, one of the things that concerns me in this case is that Ms. Hester appears to have multiple theft-related convictions. Starting with 2001, larceny in a building, 2009, identity theft, 2012, I've got a home invasion second degree, and then 2013, identity theft again. Those are all listed as prior convictions for Ms. Hester. I'm not clear from this investigator's report. This investigator's report alleges that Ms. Hester and her co-defendant were caught in the act of stealing a washing machine out of someone's home. It's not clear to me at this time from the investigator's report whether that home was occupied or vacant. At one point, it is referred to by the victim as her home, and in another part of the investigator's report, it states that they responded to a call of stripping of a vacant house, but that the victim did identify the washing machine as being hers, and that she kind of caught them in the act as she pulled up at her house. So, you know, I'm weighing a number of different things here. In terms of, you know, I will tell you in terms of the convictions, there's nothing assaultive here. So there are no assaultive convictions that cause me a concern about overall danger to the community, given that she lives with the co-defendant, they have children here. I don't know that there's a real risk of flight. But I will set a personal bond in this case just because I can't tell from the investigator's report whether this was a vacant home or not, and so I don't know. The reason that's important to me is because I don't know what the likelihood was of Ms. Hester encountering a person when she allegedly went into that home, which of course ups the dangerousness factor, right? So I can't tell. If it was an abandoned home, then that factor is really non-existent. If it wasn't, I have more to be concerned about. So the way I'm going to address that is through a very high personal bond. All right. I'm setting personal bond in the amount of $50,000, ma'am. It's a $50,000 personal bond. And I'm doing that because this is not assaultive, but I am concerned that you have several prior theft convictions in front of me that I can look at this record and make a determination that you just keep on engaging in the same type of behavior. And, so if you do that, again, or if you do not show up for your court date, or if you go anywhere near that home where it's alleged that you took this washing machine, you're going to find yourself sitting in there on a $50,000 bond. It's personal at this point, but it can become a non-personal bond quite easily if you engage in behaviors that you shouldn't be engaging in while you're out on bond. In addition, you are to have no contact with Marissa King, and that means no verbal contact, no written contact, no contact through third parties or social media. If you even attempt any contact with Ms. King, you will be in violation of the condition of your bond. I'm noting also that the last theft conviction I see, and one of the reasons I'm giving the personal bond is that the last theft conviction I can see is from 2013, that being an identity theft charge. So, again, there's been about 7 years since the last conviction. I'm trying to give you some benefit of the doubt with respect to that and take these as mere allegations at this point. All right. January 26th, 8:30 a.m. in front of Judge Giles. Thank you.
What was the court date, ma'am?
January 26th. Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing as well, DDC. I don't know. There's a lot of background noise.
Well.
I need that now.
You're Ms. Hickey, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, this is case number 2006-262501, People of the State of Michigan versus Kiana Hickey. Counsel.
Judge, good morning. May it please this honorable court, Philip Reagan, P57156 on behalf of Ms. Kiana Hickey. Judge, we waive the formal reading stand mute. Ms. Hickey has been advised of her constitutional rights.
All right, thank you. The court notes formal reading has been waived and enters a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. Do you have an argument as to bond?
Judge, my client is charged with 1 count home invasion, 2 counts of felonious assault. Now, I had a chance to talk with my client in depth this morning regarding the facts. I mean, obviously, I'm not in a position to argue the case today. It's just for purposes of bond. But it's my understanding that a Jamie Carter was an individual that she at some point had a relationship with. She thought she was pregnant by. So Mr. Carter, it's my understanding, invites her over to this home. She knocks on the door, comes in. He invites her in. They sit on the couch. And then 2 individuals come downstairs, get upset that she's there. Mr. Carter acts like he never knew her, didn't know that she was even supposed to be there. And everything goes haywire. My client informs me that she never had a weapon. She never had a knife. But yet, when the police were called, the 2 individuals are trying to protect Mr. Carter. My client has been involved in domestic relationships with Mr. Carter, where she's been a victim and been abused. Right now, she is currently homeless, Your Honor. I've contacted CAM Detroit. It's a homeless shelter who they said if she calls in a few minutes, they can get her into some temporary housing, get her into a shelter. She's 21, Judge. Gone up to only the 9th grade, does have several medical conditions that I think that are very imperative that she takes care of. Judge, I'm asking the court to release her on a personal bond. I don't think that she is a flight risk. I don't think she's a threat to anyone based on our long, in-depth conversation this morning. Again, I'm trying to find housing for her. I think, Judge, that I found some housing for her. I want to give her that information. But I'd ask the court to consider a personal bond in this time, Judge.
Okay, thank you very much. And you're saying that Ms. Hickey has prior cases existing with the complainant in this case where she was the victim of domestic violence?
That is what she informs me, Judge. And I want to be clear. I don't know if there are actual criminal cases that have been charged against Mr. Carter, but she tells me that she has been a victim of domestic violence at his hands, where he has attacked her, he has beaten her, he has hit her. That's what she told me when we talked this morning, Judge. And I want to be clear. She's a victim, Judge, and I don't think, and I don't have the benefit of the write-up as the court may have, Your Honor, but just based on our conversation, Judge, she tells me she had no weapon, she had no knife. That's not what happened. She assaulted no one, but yet she's in jail, Judge. I know she suffers from some different medical and mental issues that we talked about, and maybe that came into play. But I want her to try to get some housing, Judge. I've gotten some information that I've talked to folks this morning, and I want to see her, be successful and fight this case, Judge, because based on what I know, I don't believe she's guilty.
Okay, thank you, counsel. All right, so there are some things in this case that are meshing with what you're telling me. Number one, where the complainants are listed in the investigator's report, they do note a former dating relationship with one of the complainants. There are 2 others listed here, but one of them is located as having been in a prior dating relationship with Ms. Hickey. And so that would support somewhat the circumstances that you're telling me. I'm noting here for the record that dispute, that factual dispute of whether or not she was invited into the home or not, is crucial to that charge of home invasion first degree. Because while she was inside, it's alleged that she grabbed a knife and made some threats, but not that she did physical harm to anybody, that she did grab a knife and make some threats. If she had the permission to be in there, then we'd only be dealing with those FA counts and not with a home invasion first. And so the information from you that she has another side to this story, which is supported by the fact that the complainant is listed as having been in a former dating relationship with her, does give me some perspective here in terms of how to balance what on its face is a very, very serious charge. Home invasion first degree is generally a very, very serious charge. but that disputed fact that she was invited in, and that he then claimed not to know her, is questionable to me, given what you've told me, counsel, given the fact that he's indicated as someone that she was formerly dating here. All right. I'm also noting that Ms. Hickey is receiving the benefit of an extremely sparse investigator's report. In this case involving home invasion first degree, which is extremely serious, I have one small paragraph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a 7-line paragraph describing what she allegedly did. It is extremely sparse. I have no supplement. All it says is that the victims advised the defendant entered the home without permission, grabbed a knife, and made threats. I mean, there's really not a lot there in terms of, any prior existing relationship, in terms of whether or not she would have thought she was invited in or had been told to stay away. I have nothing. I really don't have much to go on at all in this case. So I appreciate the perspective. All right. For those reasons, I'm going to set a personal bond in this case. I do not have any prior conviction history in front of me for Ms. Hickey, assaultive or otherwise. I can't see that she's ever been convicted of anything before, much less an assaultive offense. In terms of flight risk, thank you. In terms of flight risk, the only thing that would cause me concern for flight risk is homelessness. And I don't think a person should be punished for being homeless. You're telling me that you're working with her to get her into a shelter that might be able to assist her with having a place to stay. She'll know when her next court date is. I expect that she'll get here and deal with this. It'll come down. It sounds like this is a credibility contest here, and that she's got some things on her side, some arguments to make. So I'm assuming that she'll get herself back to court. All right. I am going to set personal bond high in the amount of $50,000 because I want her to make sure she doesn't miss her next court date. And I want her to make sure that she stays away from Jamie Carter, Walter Sloan, and Ciantica Bradley. She's to have no contact or attempted contact with them, ma'am. I understand, counsel is telling me you have been a victim of abuse at the hands of this person, and then you went to his home. Stay away. Don't attempt any contact. If there's a question of a, impending childbirth, that can be handled through the courts. Do not go there and attempt to talk with him and take matters into your own hands. All right. Personal bond in the amount of $50,000. No contact or attempted contact with Jamie Carter, Walter Sloan, or Ciantica Bradley. And that means no verbal contact, no written contact, no contact through third parties or social media. If you even attempt any contact with any of these people, you will find yourself in violation of the bond order and locked up during the pendency of this case. Stay away from them. Do not attempt contact with them. Next court date, January 26th, 8:30 a.m. in front of Judge Jones. That'll be a virtual hearing. Thank you. Good luck to getting it all resolved.
Judge, thank you so very much.
Thank you, counsel. Appreciate your argument.
Thank you.
Ms. Stafford, Ms. Stafford is by Zoom. Okay. All right, DDC, looks like that does it for me until this afternoon.
Oh, that's Division 3, and
We don't have that file.
getting the file together.
Okay, thank you.
So I have to call Division